Hi everyone, welcome to Sacred Timings with Swati. I'm Swati Kameswar, and in this video, we are going to be talking about the upcoming Libra, Aries, Eclipse, and the tunnel of transformation that we have already entered. So let's get started. Here are some key dates to be aware of. As we can see, there's a lot going on, and prior to the eclipse, Pluto turns direct. So let's see what this eclipse season is all about. So now, eclipses are accelerated periods of growth that can bring up karmic patterns to resolve. And it's important to be super conscious as we go through this next month or so. Now, the eclipses on the Libra Aries axis are all about balanced power and equal conscious relationships across the board. So, this is a massive window for healing power issues for all of humanity. Now, we also have Chiron in Aries, and the North Node will conjunct Chiron next year. So, this puts a lot of emphasis on healing our wounds around the shadow of Aries and Libra. And the more we can do in the healing and clearing realm now, all that preparatory work is going to pay off. So, for the purpose of this video, I want to share my perspective on karma. And I view that as any unresolved pattern that is not aligned with love and sovereignty. So, mental, emotional patterns that we carry that are not aligned with the highest love, regard, and sovereignty, these will come up to be resolved. So, eclipses create this really tight window for quick transformation, and that is why we may feel the intensity of it because all these unresolved patterns are coming up, and we may feel the intensity of these patterns very obviously, particularly through our relationships. Relationships are a huge way that we work out our karmic patterns, and they are a vehicle for resolving our karmic patterns for good. So imagine your unresolved patterns coming face to face with another person's unresolved patterns. And I feel like it's a brilliant design to wake us up in a hurry and get us on the way to sovereignty. It's such a brilliant strategy the soul chooses to get us out of this wheel of illusion. So, immense soul growth can happen when you realize this and when you consciously take ownership of those patterns, when you start to observe them and start to see how your mental and emotional unresolved patterns are playing a role there. We can utilize these timings to consciously clear the old patterns and to create new patterns, resulting in a new experience of relationships. Now, our relationships are often like mirrors, and to experience harmony and equality and respect in our relationships, which is the whole purpose of this Aries Libra energy, we first need to experience all of these qualities within ourselves first. So we can take a honest look at our relationships and see where is there an absence of the highest love, regard, and sovereignty, where we don't feel as equals to the opposite person. And remember that Libra Aries is about that equality. There's a sense of inclusiveness and mutual respect and honor in relationships. So go through all of your relationships and see where this inequality exists. And some journaling prompts are listed here. Is your behavior tied to someone else's behavior? Is your peace of mind tied to what they say or do or feel? And I think one of the most significant aspects of this harmony in relationships is the ability to express ourselves, or rather, inability to express ourselves. So ask yourself, are you able to be yourself in this relationship? Is your authentic expression coming through? And this is going to be key because where we express from the wound rather than our highest self, that is going to have an impact on our relationship. So asking yourself that is in this relationship, is your wound coming through or is it your higher self coming through? And what impact does that have? This is extremely important because this is where the karmic patterns will play out the most. So when we express through the wound, of not feeling enough, of not feeling heard and seen, if we're not able to express because of fear, or if we have anger and resentment, judgment and guilt, then our communication and our expression is coming out through this filter. And it will run up against the opposite person's unresolved patterns as well. And then you have this recipe for relationship disharmony. So this is where things can get so uncomfortable, particularly during eclipses. If this sort of stuff is showing up in your life, then this eclipse window is really the time to go headfirst into these patterns and make a decision to resolve it once and for all. So, another key thing is that prior to this, um, another key thing here is that as we up level, our relationships become divine mirrors. So, rather than mirroring the shadow or the wound, it starts to mirror our highest self, and that's a beautiful place to be in. And that is where that's one of the highest aspects of this Libra Aries energy, where you are that equality and that divinity is being mirrored by all. All right, so now let's talk about some of the key superpowers of the Aries and Libra archetypes. And we'll start with Libra first. So, if you have Libra Aries in your chart, then it's essential to cultivate these superpowers. That is one of your soul's intent. And if you don't have Libra Aries, planets in Libra Aries in your chart, then you can still access this energy by deciding to cultivate it yourself. In fact, that is what we want to do. We want to be able to access the wholeness of all these archetypes, irrespective of what is going on in your chart. So one of the key superpowers of Libra is a capacity to bring people together. They are able to work with large groups towards a common purpose. And one of the behavioral traits that helps them to do that is the ability to view with neutrality. And and because of this, they have the capacity to see different points of view. So by bringing different perspectives into coherence and harmony for the highest good of all, this archetype becomes a very active archetype. It's not passive at all because it requires a lot of strength and maturity, mental, emotional, and spiritual maturity to be able to see differing perspectives and to not get triggered and to not judge, but to be able to understand each person's point of view and to bring it all into harmony. And if it's within the individual person, remembering that peace arises from neutrality. So when you're able to see all sorts of things that are happening externally and not get triggered, not judge, not interject or project your opinion into it, but be able to stay neutral and see the higher perspective of that, it's easy to be neutral about things, and that neutrality gives you access to peace. So this is actually a huge superpower from of Libra, and it comes when they are themselves embodying healthy Aries. So that opposite sign energy needs to be activated as well. And shadow Aries is often thinking about itself. It's coming from the wound itself. Right now we have Chiron in Aries, so that may sort of highlight the wounds around our identity and expression quite a bit. So if we are expressing from the wound, then that highest sense of Libra is not easy to access. But so take a look at the previous slide where we talked about the wound. And now we move on to the superpower of Aries, and that is commitment to a purpose. That means that it is certain, Aries is certain of its purpose in life, and it has the internal power, the agency to act on that. And this power is not the illusion of power that comes from control, that it's not the facade of that control and manipulation, but it's power that comes from authenticity because healthy Aries has a strong sense of identity. It knows who am I? It knows who it is. And if that identity is cloudy, if it's clouded by the wound, if you don't know yourself well, or if you're not able to express who you really are, then a facade is created. And when in a relationship, we start to express through that facade or an illusion, that then results in false dynamics because then you don't feel seen and heard. Something feels off, right? If you're not able to express yourself authentically, or if it's not received in the right way, then something feels off, and then the power over and power under dynamics are created. So it could be that either or both the parties in a relationship, they come from a place of fear and control and falseness. So if you cannot express your true identity, then the wound itself comes through very easily. And responding from that self that is not seen and heard can just um, highlight the distortion in relationships. So this window of the eclipses in the next couple of years, where the nodes are in Libra and Aries, and where we have Chiron in Aries, it's a key time to face the wound around our identity and of expression in the world. and how that identity expresses out through our work, through our relationships, through our career, and generally through our life. So, what is true personal power? It comes from your authentic self. It is clean and clear of agendas. It is undistorted and it is pure because it's coming from your authentic, from your highest self. And honestly, it's the greatest act of self love to spend time and resources to explore and allow your own self expression to come through, to be able to spend time to figure out who you really are and getting to know your identity. This is so key. Remembering that healthy Aries results in healthy Libra because we cannot have collaboration, connection, unity consciousness that we are all heading towards. We cannot have all these qualities if each person is not owning their true, undistorted power. And that comes from your healthy self expression, your true self expression, because self expression equates harmony. So when we're able to express who we really are, there's a sense of relief in your body, in your mind, in your emotions. You're not pushing against a facade. You're not kind of forcing something out through an illusion and a fakeness. When we've cleared the wound around expression, that allows that authenticity to come through, and then you feel peace in the heart. So the key to authentic power is a power of undistorted self-expression. When we are not expressing through the wound, but we are expressing through our highest self. And it might really help to remember this as you move through the eclipse season and take a look at which are the places in your life, which are the relationships in your life where your undistorted, pure self-expression is not coming through. So how do we expand this authentic expression? I have two ways here that I would like to share. And the first one, the way or the key to authentic self-expression is to have a strong, unwavering connection to the voice of your highest self or the voice of your muse or your internal guidance. There are so many ways that we can refer to this aspect of us that is the voice of our true self. Having a strong, unshakable connection to the voice of inspiration and empowerment within you is so key. But what can get in the way of that? What gets in the way of that is the voice of the wound. That is the voice of the inner critic, the self doubt, judgment. Maybe there's resentment, anger. When we see life through the lens of our wound, it has a damaging impact on our life and our relationships and our expression. And if this resonates with you and you would like to transform these patterns, then I invite you to this workshop I'm holding next week called Amused. A muse transforms the voice of your inner critic into the loving, empowering voice of your muse. So you can bring your muse into all of your relationships. Now, just imagine a world where everyone is expressing as their highest self, where we've done the work of clearing the wound and we're expressing as our highest self. We're able to see the good for all and acting on everybody else's, acting on the behalf of the common good, where even your needs are taken care of. So if this resonates, check out Amuse. Here is the link to it. activateyourtruthandpower.com/amused. I'm holding it on October 13th in the morning. It's on the eve of the first eclipse, and eclipses provide opportunities for rapid growth. So doing this kind of inner work, where the kind of work that we do in this workshop in fun and playful ways can really help to quickly shift the pattern of the wound and connect you to the voice of your highest expression. Now, a second way to expand your authentic expression is to embody your highest expression. And so, what does that mean? It means that you are living the patterns of your higher expression rather than the wound in your day to day life. And those are coming out through your thoughts, through your emotions, through the work that you do, through your relationships, your career is being expressed in all aspects. So, you're completely embodying that. And what can get in the way of that? One of the things I find that gets in the way of embodiment of your highest expression is sometimes a lack of clarity. Like, how do we do this? We don't know. And it requires a little bit of digging, it requires a little bit of time and resources spent towards it to figure out what is your highest expression. It really requires some exploration into who you really are. We can have a mental idea about it, but if it's not translated into practices and habits, then we're not embodying it. So, natal chart embodiment helps you to actualize your soul's potential. And your natal chart has so many clues to who you're meant to be. And sometimes it's difficult for our mental mind to comprehend that and to understand that and to get on board with it. Like we may have an intellectual understanding of what our natal chart is all about. You may say, I'm sun in this so and so sign, and I'm sun in Aries and moon in Libra and Mercury in so and so sign. But how is that translated to your everyday life? And are you expressing through the wound, through the shadow, or through the highest essence of that energy? That is why the embodiment process is necessary, because that aligns you to your life purpose, and then that infuses into all of your life. So if this interests you, then I invite you to check out Power of Balance, which is a 6-month one-on-one journey. It's an epic journey of a lifetime. And if you would like to explore that, I invite you to a complimentary call, and I've listed the link here for you to book that. And that brings us to the end of this video. I'm wishing you ease and grace as you walk into this tunnel of transformation. And may it align you to your highest path in the most beautiful way possible. I've also listed here some ways we can stay in touch. And for creative workshops as well as gifts to find your authentic voice, all the information is listed here. And that brings us to the end of this. Thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Bye.